evening. I'll call this meeting of the Cartersville City Council to order. If you'll please stand for our invocation and pledge.
Let us pray. Our dear gracious Heavenly Father, what a joy it is to come tonight together again to do the business of the city. And as we look forward to Thursday, we cannot help but return thanks to you for placing us in this great nation and for the independence that was fought for us, so we reap the benefit of it. We ask that you would continue to watch over our brave young men and women as they continue to protect our freedom and our liberties here. Thank you for this time, and may what's done here be to your glory, and it's in your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Ulmer, the roll, please.
Carrie Hodge, Ward 1. Jay Stepp, Ward 2. Harry Roth, Ward 3.
Here.
Calvin Cooley, Ward 4.
Here.
Gary Fox, Ward 5.
Here.
Beth Rand, Ward 6.
Here.
Thank you, Meredith. First order of business is the approval of our council meeting minutes from our June 20th meeting. And council, you've had an opportunity to look those over and review the contents. Now would be an opportunity to make any edits to those, and if there are none, a motion to approve would be in order.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Ms. Brock, lead us off, please.
Yes, Mayor and Council, this is the annual occurrence of the time change for Civic Youth Day. Should go from the 7 p.m. meeting to the 9 a.m. time on September the 19th, 2019. And your approval of the meeting time change is recommended.
Thank you. Any questions or discussion on this item? And if not, a motion is in order.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. We have second reading of an ordinance. Mr. Menino, you'll have the next several with us.
Yes, thank you, Mayor and Council. The first one is a change to the alcohol control ordinance. This would change the composition of board members from 5 to 7. It was recommended for your approval.
Okay. Any discussion on this item? If not, a motion's in order.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Just as a note to that before we move on, Randy, is that Mr. Menino told us in work session he has a list of the people that are currently on that board and what ward they're in, should council choose. And again, we're not being appointed, those appointments aren't by ward, it's simply each council person and mayor now have a selection to make on that. And so
I'll email
We
that
can-
list out to y'all tomorrow.
we can begin that. Thank you, sir. If you'll get us started now with SU 19-03.
Yes, thank you again, Mayor. All the zoning applications that are on the agenda today have been properly posted and advertised, and there appears to be no conflicts of interest with that. This is the second reading of SU 1903. This is a proposal for a special use for a church to be located at 920 North Tennessee Street. Planning Commission did recommend approval with a condition that the applicant locate the front door of the church where as not to impede a potential package license for a property across the street, and that was Planning Commission recommendation. No changes since the first reading.
Thank you. And both sides of the street are happy with where those lines are, as I'm remembering from our first reading?
I don't recall any concerns at the meeting, at the last council meeting.
Thank you.
During the first reading.
All right, nothing's changed since, you haven't heard from anybody since the first reading then?
No, David
Thank
has
you.
talked to the applicant. He was aware they'd be here, and I don't think there
Thank
was
you.
any additional feedback on that.
All right, thank you. Any questions for Randy at this point? Thank you, sir. At this point, I'll open up a public hearing for SU 19-03 and ask anybody who wishes to speak for or against to step forward at this time. And if you would please, your name and address for our clerk, please.
Yes, good evening. My name is Scott Mackin, Mackworth, Georgia. I'm here on behalf of Four Points Church, who's making the application. We just want to let you know that we have no issues with being compliant with the previous session.
Great. Thank you. Anybody else wishing to step forward, speak for or against, may do so at this time. And seeing none, I'll close the public hearing for SU 19-03 and turn it over to council for consideration.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Next item, please, Randy.
Thank you again, Mayor and Council. This is Z 1901, proposed rezoning from R20 to R10 for a 212-acre tract that is, as I had noted in the first reading, it's under the umbrella of Carter Grove. It wasn't part of the original plan development. With that, the applicant is proposing approximately 330 residential units. It was previously approved for 247. Planning Commission did recommend approval with 6 conditions on that. During the first reading, there was discussion on one of the proposed conditions that Planning Commission did place on their recommendation. That was a minimum 2,000 square foot home size. The applicant, as I noted during the work session and during the first reading, the applicant did suggest that they would like the option to build a single level product or a ranch product that was at 1,650 square feet. And with that, that information was distributed to council. Again, Planning Commission did recommend approval with those 6 conditions on it.
Where are the other 3 conditions? Is there another slide for that, David, please?
Yeah, further down.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed that. Okay, thank you. All right, any questions for Randy at this time? Thank you, sir. And I will open up the floor, the public hearing for Z19-01. Anybody wishing to speak for or against may do so at this time.
Yes, Mayor and Council, I'm Joe Harris, and I'm here on behalf of Avante Properties. We got Chris Easterwood that's here to answer any questions you may have. If we heard last time, we're responding to what the citizens are wanting. You've heard the surveys where everybody wants more quality senior housing. The young families are wanting the 2-story product. The seniors are wanting the ranch style. When you heard from the residents, they love this because it's going to open up the ability to get more amenities for them. You talk to the neighbors, they think it's better to have expensive $300,000 homes across the ridge lines than the riffraff that's going on there. So it'll be a quality improvement. And everybody wants that large park in the middle. Like I've told you before, I don't think there's any neighborhood in Bartow County or Carterville's got 50 acres of streams and places for nature trails. We do want to stop, and I thank Randy and David. They have been so helpful. They've made a lot of constructive suggestions that we've heard of, and we agree with all the recommendations they've made. We liked what the Planning Commission said about moving in with the amenities. The only change that we'd like to make with their recommendation is we're fine with the 2,000 square feet for two levels. But on the ranch style houses, we would like to move that back to 1,650. That's more on average. If you remember last time, we showed you a lot of plans. If you look, that's what we were recommending. But we do, again, ask that you would rezone this from R20 to R10 and make that one modification about the 1,650 on the for the ranch.
Okay, thank you. Questions
Thank
for
you.
Mr. Harris at this time? Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else wishing to speak for or against may do so at this time. And seeing none, I'll close the public hearing for Z19-01 and turn it over to council for your consideration. And just some clarification, Mr. Archer, any motion would need to include all 6 of those points and, and anything plus, correct?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the first 5 recommendations, and on the 6th one, which is the home having a minimum of 2,000 square feet, that read 2,000 square feet for a 2-story home and 1,650 for a ranch, one single level home.
Okay. Second. We have a motion and a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
And motion carries unanimously. Mr. Menino, if you will get us started now with Z19-03.
Thank you again, Mayor and Council. Z1903 and Z1904 are related. David has a map displayed up there. If you recall during the first reading, I did note the Planning Commission did recommend approval of Z1903. They did have a recommended condition on there that expansion of salvage yard would require compliance with buffer and stacking requirements is set forth in our ordinance. That was the Planning Commission's recommendation, and since the first reading, we did receive a letter from an adjacent property owner that does support both these cases. It was not included in your original package.
All right. Thank you. Questions? You said that language that's highlighted in red.
That is correct.
I was one and two.
All right. Any questions for Mr. Menino at this time? Seeing none, thank you for your time right now, and we'll open up a public hearing for Z1903. Anybody wishing to step forward, speak for or against, may do so at this time.
Hi, I'm Mary Ellen Lighthizer here on behalf of Tilly Properties. We agree with the stacking and buffer requirements and request approval of this and the Z1904 as well. Thank you.
Okay, we'll get to that one.
Go ahead and address.
Thank you. All right, anybody else wishing to speak for or against may do so at this time. All right, I'll close the public hearing for Z19-03 and turn it over to council for consideration.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Now on to Z1904, please, Randy.
And this is 7.27 acres to the rear as shown on the map. It was recommended for approval by Planning Commission, and there have been no additions or changes since the first reading.
Okay, thank you. Questions on this item? Thank you, Randy. Public hearing for Z1904. Duly noted. I'll close the public hearing for Z1904 and turn it over to council for consideration.
Motion to approve.
I'll second that.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Randy. Ms. Brock, you've got the next item.
Yes, Mayor and Council, this is the first reading of the ordinance revision of the maximum number of dogs and cats a resident can have in their home. This changes the number from 3 dogs to 6, and it was done in order to be consistent with the number of dogs and cats in a home. I know there was some discussion during work session on a comfortable number that you all had, so staff looks to you for some direction on what you would like to see that number at the second reading on July 18th.
Okay. Any discussion at this point on that? I know we don't vote on it tonight, but again, I know that when that was put in place for the 3 dogs, it was kind of done arbitrarily, and we did this to match what the county ordinance was, but I think as Ms. Brock indicated during work session, we just need to get a little bit more information between now and the next reading, correct? Correct. Everybody good to move on from there? Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for that, Ms. Brock. Mr. Archer, you have the next item, please, sir.
In your agenda package, there is a form for a right-of-way to be dedicated to the city by Highland Investment Associates LLC out on Highway 411. That document needs to be replaced because the language in it does not really fit what the intent is. The intent is to grant an easement for certain utility infrastructure, and I've distributed to each of you the correct form for an easement that has been signed by Highland Investment Associates, and for your consideration is whether or not to accept this dedication of the easement. And I will tell you they have given us the signed performance and maintenance bonds and all other required documents, including a survey of the property.
Okay. Questions, comments, or motions?
I'll make a motion to accept this.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Mr. Sanders. Good evening.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. In compliance with the Brooks Act, we went through a qualifications-based selection for an engineer for the Grassdale Road sidewalk project. If you recall, the city applied for a transportation alternative program grant earlier in the year and received that for the engineering on this project. A committee was formed by city staff to select the most qualified firm. They selected Southeastern Engineering of Marietta, Georgia, and once a fee was negotiated, the final fee submitted was $331,500. The grant will cover 80% of that. And so the city share, the city and the county will split the remainder, and the city share will be $33,130, which will be funded through SPLOST. And we recommend your approval.
All right. Any discussion on this item? And if there's not, a motion's in order.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tommy. Chief Carter, you have the next item, and Dan, you're on deck.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Bring before you tonight a budgeted project for our new fiscal year. This is to purchase and to enter into a brand new online training platform. This will help us with our record retention and record management system for our education. A firefighter has to have a minimum of 240 hours training per year, just on the basic firefighter level. And on top of that, you start dealing with the hazardous material certifications, origin and cause investigator, and emergency medical technician. That's got to the point to where it's extremely labor intensive as far as the record keeping is concerned. Dealing with this company, Target Solutions, also gives us a digital training platform where we find it's a little bit more responsive for the new firefighters now. It creates more of a virtual classroom environment. And we're going to add this to our current training platform that's been very successful for it, but it gives us a new angle. The agreement that you have before you that we're requesting approval of has been reviewed by legal. There were some changes that was made at Keith's recommendation. Those changes were completed. This budgeted price of $6,002 is basically $89 per firefighter per year. We're requesting approval to expend these funds and to authorize the mayor to execute the documents.
Thank you, Chief. Questions, comments, or motions?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Chief. Mr. Porta.
Yes, Mayor and Council, I have a workers' compensation third-party administration agreement with USIS. They handle that TPA service for us for our self-insured workers' comp. At a cost for this fiscal year is $10,147.50 and recommended for your approval.
Thank you. Questions, comments, or motions?
I'll make a motion to approve. Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Mr. Jones, you've got the next two.
Yes, sir. Good evening, everyone. First up, we need to make a purchase for the distribution and collection division. This particular purchase is 2-inch meter setters and some various fittings that go with that. The low bid came from Core in Maine at $5,517. It's a budgeted item and recommend for your approval.
Thank you. Any discussion? And if not, a motion.
Make a motion to approve. Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Next item for you, Bob.
This will be the last of our Center Road sewer replacement. We finally have that project completely done. As a matter of cleanup, we have 2 change orders to address tonight. The first change order is actually a $26,831.20 addition to the project. The second change order is a reduction in the amount of $96,357.79. Net that together, and the project was completed for $779,478.41, which is substantially under the originally authorized $849,500. So we did well on that one. It was a difficult project. We had our moments with it, but I'm glad to see it in the rearview mirror, and particularly glad to see it finishing up at this price. So definitely recommend this for your approval, and we will put this one in the file cabinet.
Well, before I let council do anything with that, I want to thank you for that, and don't want to gloss over it. It's your department and every other department in here. We have folks that are looking after every dollar and finding ways to do things better and looking after taxpayer money, so I appreciate.
Thank you.
This is just the latest example of it, but it's commonplace, and that's a good thing for us. So thank you.
Thanks.
Chair will entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve. Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thanks.
We have one item to add tonight. Council, I'll entertain a motion to add that item.
So moved. I'll make a motion to add the item to the agenda.
Thank you.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
One item added. Chief Cloninger.
Mayor and Council, basically in compliance with a new Department of Justice policy, the police department is seeking approval to move forward on the forfeiture of a vehicle which was seized pursuant to a federal investigation which we participated in. Once approved, if approved, that vehicle will be added to the police department's existing fleet and used primarily for surveillance purposes and as backup vehicle.
Okay, thank you. Any questions on this item? And if not, a motion's in order.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anything else needs to come before council this evening? I will make note that obviously Thursday, 4th of July, city services, if you have garbage service, they'll try to get you on Friday, and please be patient. Leave it out there. Everybody's going to be working hard. And while many of us are not going to be working, there's several people at the city that will be. So we appreciate them standing around and doing their jobs at a moment's notice when we're out enjoying, and everybody be nice and safe. Parade is Thursday beginning at 9. Events at Dellinger Park start at 2 o'clock and will run through dark, and the fireworks. So, and weather's going to be fine. I've decreed it, so shall it be done. But happy Independence Day, everybody. And with that, Chair will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second. What are we moving to?
To adjourn.
Adjourn. You got a hurrah for that.